Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Many people who enjoy watching historical dramas about the Qing dynasty may often see scenes where the emperor rewards loyal ministers with a yellow horse gown. This garment, symbolizing honor, was considered the highest reward, and was even regarded as a privilege similar to an imperial pardon or a get-out-of-jail-free card. It was widely believed that anyone who received a yellow horse gown would enjoy the emperor's special protection, effectively shielding them from punishment. However, even though Heshen, the most powerful and influential official during the Qing dynasty, owned more than 20 yellow horse gowns, he ultimately could not escape death. So why, despite possessing so many honors, was he still unable to avoid his fate? What exactly were the privileges associated with the yellow horse gown? According to historical records, before the Qing army took control of central China, the Manchu people lived a nomadic lifestyle, relying on fishing and hunting for sustenance. To make it easier to hunt while riding horses, they invented a short and lightweight garment that could be worn over a robe without hindering movement. The sleeves extended to the elbows, and the hem reached the thighs. This garment was known as the horse gown. The horse gown was also called the short gown or horse pad and was referred to in Manchu as dido. Initially, the horse gown was popular among the military because it was practical and well suited for horseback combat. During the reign of Emperor Qianlong, the renowned military minister Fu Heng wore a horse gown to win a significant battle, after which the garment gained the nickname Victory Gown, because the horse gown was comfortable and convenient to wear. It quickly spread from the military to the general public, becoming a common attire for ordinary citizens. Many nobles and people from the upper class also began to imitate and improve the design of the gown, making it more elaborate, with embroidery and decorative edging. Some even created single-layer or double-layer versions using different materials according to seasonal changes, all infused with Manchu characteristics. As time passed, the horse gown gradually made its way into the imperial palace. Since the emperor particularly favored the color yellow, which was considered a symbol of power and nobility at the time, the emperor began wearing a yellow horse gown. This yellow gown then became a symbol of royal privilege, the yellow horse gown. Additionally, the yellow horse gown was actually an official garment of the Qing dynasty, originally designated for high-ranking ministers and military officials. For example, important officials such as the Minister of the Imperial Guards or the Commander of the Imperial Army would wear this special attire. Later, it was also given as a reward to ministers who had achieved military success. The yellow horse gown was sometimes referred to as yellow horse robe. In the Qing dynasty, patrolling guards, and important ministers, such as the Grand Minister, Inner Ministers, and Chief Guards, were all permitted to wear the yellow horse gown. Ministers who had made significant contributions were especially honored and given the yellow horse gown as a symbol of the emperor's favor. There are several different types of the yellow mandarin robe, which were worn by officials and dignitaries in the Qing dynasty. Here is a brief introduction to each type. 1. Xingji Gua. This yellow robe was specifically worn by the emperor's personal guards and close officials during the emperor's travels. According to historical records, anyone holding important positions such as the chief of the Imperial Guard, the imperial minister, or other high-ranking attendants could wear this robe. In short, the Xingji Gua was the emperor's work attire, and only the guards and officials accompanying the emperor during his travels were allowed to wear it. 2. Xingwei Gua. This yellow robe was prepared for the officials accompanying the emperor during his autumn hunting trips in the Qing dynasty. Only those ministers and guards who accompanied the emperor on a hunt could wear it. It could not be worn at any other time. Therefore, it was also considered a royal work uniform. Officials who performed exceptionally during the emperor's hunting activities could be rewarded with a yellow mandarin robe as a form of recognition from the emperor. 3. Wugong Gua. This yellow robe was specifically used to reward officials or military officers who had made military achievements. In addition to military officers, some civil officials who had military accomplishments, such as Li Hongzhang and Zheng Guofan in the later years of the Qing dynasty, also received the emperor's yellow mandarin robe as a reward. The Wugong Gua symbolized honor, much like today's medals of military merit. Thus, the Wugong Gua was considered more prestigious than the Xingji Gua or Xingwei Gua, as it represented honor earned through military achievements. To differentiate the three types of yellow robes, the emperor specified different colors for the fastenings. The fastenings on the Xingji Gua and Xingwei Gua were black, while the fastenings on the Wugong Gua were yellow, symbolizing the wearer's high status and special distinction. As a result, the yellow mandarin robe represented the emperor's special favor. When an official made remarkable achievements, in addition to being rewarded with gold, silver, or promotions, the emperor would also present them with a yellow mandarin robe as a token of recognition and affection. For courtiers, owning a yellow mandarin robe was a tremendous honor. Officials in the court dreamed of receiving this royal reward, as wearing this robe symbolized glory for themselves and their families. However, while the yellow mandarin robe symbolized honor and the emperor's favor, it did not confer any special privileges. It was not directly tied to rank or official position, nor did it serve as a talisman or get-out-of-jail-free card, as popular myths suggest. In fact, regardless of whether one was a high-ranking official or an ordinary citizen, the emperor could grant the yellow mandarin robe to anyone he pleased. In the imperial palace, yellow mandarin robes were actually quite common. For example, members of the imperial guard, royal attendants, and some ministers all wore yellow mandarin robes. However, these robes were not specially bestowed by the emperor, but were rather official work attire related to their positions. By the end of the Qing dynasty, the meaning and role of the yellow mandarin robe had changed. It became more common and, at times, was even given out casually. For example, Empress Dowager Cixi once casually rewarded her train driver with a yellow mandarin robe simply because she was pleased. In conclusion, the yellow mandarin robe was more a symbol of honor and identity, rather than possessing any magical privileges or protective power as suggested by popular legends. It is worth mentioning the reasons why Heshen, despite owning more than 20 yellow jackets, the highest honor, could not escape death. According to comments from relevant historians, Heshen, whose full name was Shanbao, was a Manchu noble of the plain red banner, from a family originally based in today's Qingyuan County, Liaoning Province. He was a powerful official during the reign of the Qianlong Emperor in the Qing dynasty and held important positions such as Grand Minister of the Court and Minister of Military Affairs, at one point reaching the peak of power in the imperial court. Despite possessing more than 20 yellow jackets symbolizing the highest honor, Heshen still could not avoid the death penalty, becoming a controversial, powerful minister in Qing history. Heshen's career began smoothly. He was adept at handling complex court relationships, particularly excelling in diplomatic affairs. His performance in foreign relations earned praise from British envoy Lord Macartney. The Qianlong Emperor deeply trusted him and even married his daughter to Heshen's son, further solidifying his position in the court. One could say that Heshen was not only a person of substantial political power but also became a relative of the imperial family. As his power grew, so did Heshen's personal desires. He began to exploit his official position, forming factions, accepting bribes, and using various means to eliminate political rivals. In addition to consolidating his political power, Heshen also personally managed business ventures, opening 75 pawnshops, establishing over 300 silver stores, and even conducting trade with foreign merchants such as the British East India Company and the Cantonese 13 Hangs. His wealth accumulated to an extraordinary level. He was once described as the king of corrupt officials. And his fortune even surpassed that of the world's richest man at the time, Mayer Rothschild. At the same time, Heshen's power was repeatedly challenged by the monitoring forces in the court. Officials such as Inspector Qian Feng, Grand Scholar Lu Yong, Hanlin Academy Editor Fan Zhong, Minister of Military Affairs Wang Jie, Minister of the Ministry of Revenue Dong Gao, and Minister of the Ministry of Rights Zhu Gui attempted multiple times to bring him down. But Heshen repeatedly escaped danger thanks to the protection of Emperor Qianlong. Despite the criticism for his corruption, Heshen's literary talents should not be overlooked. He was diligent in reading and particularly enjoyed The Romance of the Three Kingdoms and The Spring and Autumn Annals, with a deep understanding of the 4 books and 5 classics. He once advocated for Zhu Xi's philosophy, although later his focus shifted more to practical interests. However, in his leisure time, he enjoyed conversing with scholars and poets. More importantly, the masterpiece Dream of the Red Chamber, a jewel of Chinese literature, was preserved thanks to Heshen's protection. Heshen often composed poems with Emperor Qianlong, whose taste in poetry was fully matched by Heshen. In order to cater to the emperor, Heshen worked hard to learn and compose poetry, even showcasing his literary accomplishments in front of the emperor. Many of his works, particularly those co-written with Qianlong, demonstrate his profound literary and calligraphy skills. In 1799, when the Qianlong emperor passed away, Heshen lost his greatest protector, Emperor Qianlong. Upon his succession, the Jiaqing emperor immediately ordered Heshen's dismissal and arrest. After trial, Heshen was sentenced to death by strangulation with a white silk cord. His estate was confiscated, and the amount of wealth found was staggering. Historical records state that during his more than 20 years in power, Heshen accumulated vast fortunes, which not only caused severe damage to the Qing dynasty's finances but also worsened the hardships of ordinary people. Despite his possession of so many yellow jackets and his once immense political power, the various crimes Heshen committed, especially his extreme corruption and the damage to the Qing dynasty's finances, ultimately led to his death. The death of Emperor Qianlong meant the loss of Heshen's protection, and the succeeding Jiaqing emperor immediately began to reform the court. Heshen's abuse of power and corruption became the ultimate cause of his downfall. Heshen was not just a corrupt official. His rise and fall deeply mirrored the political environment and court dynamics of that era. Although he had notable achievements in literature, political strategy, and even business management, in the end, neither power or wealth could shield him from the judgment of fate. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.